each level of our Unarmed Combatives course has a module about striking. And we've covered pretty much all of them. And at this point, some people may wonder, well, here it is level 8, Hock, and you haven't talked about the headbutt yet. And Joe so-and-so and Ralph so-and-so, they have knees, headbutts, and elbows, and it's an important and vital part of other systems. And as a person who has investigated this issue a lot, I am not a big believer in using headbutts as a primary tool. And don't believe me, ask any neurosurgeon, ask any brain doctor. When you are knocked unconscious, it is because your brain has splashed inside your skull or has turned inside your skull. And it doesn't matter that you have used this part of your head because it's harder to hit something. That doesn't matter. It's the fact that your brain has an accelerated or decelerated injury inside your skull that causes unconsciousness. And so you are not able to determine who the bad guy or the good guy is delivering or receiving a headbutt. Brains splash like Jell-O. In fact, your brain has less consistency than Jell-O. And imagine 2 bowls of Jell-O bouncing together. And so I am going to tell you that I don't believe that headbutts are a primary weapon because you can knock yourself unconscious or severely stunned in the middle of a fight for your life. This has happened time and time again. That's just the way it is. And if you don't understand what I'm telling you, you need to have your head examined. Because it's very simple. God did not make your head to be an impact weapon. It is not a war mace. It is not a Spanish bolo. You're supposed to protect your head first, and then only at a last resort situation do you use your head to strike. The classic headbutt is taught usually by locking your neck in with your shoulders and trying to take the hard part of your head and targeting the nose. And that means solidifying the opponent's head as best as possible and striking it. And you know, in a perfect world, that's probably the best shot you're going to have. If you must use your head, that's probably the best way to do it. The problem is that any human being under the stress of chaos has a lot of body power, the ability to absolutely confirm that you're going to only strike and collapse his soft nose. These are all questionable situations. Headbutts are done too cavalierly by most people. My favorite ones are the guys who do the block pass and pin drill. They come in and do that. If we both did that, just like I just showed you, we might well both land to our knees, stunned or possibly unconscious, because that's just done in total unsafe situation. I say if it's at all possible, there's a double ear clap. If there's another option, I really suggest you should take it. For example, instead of crashing bowling ball to bowling ball, why not take his head and ram it into your shoulder? Now, when you do this slowly in practice, he will have to turn his head away from your shoulder. And you're going to say, oh, that's not any good, he's turned his head away. But if you do that fast, he's not going to be able to turn his head away. See, if we do it like this, he's going to want to turn his head away. And onlookers and yourself will say, I'm not going to get a key shot. But if you come in like this and do that, it's his head bouncing around, not yours. And how could that be wrong? And so rather than bang and run the risk of 2 bowling balls crashing, take that and bang his head on your shoulder for a stunning blow. Another option may be, if you've got a double ear clap, maybe you should take a hammer fist to the nose instead of throwing your head around like a war mace. There are options that I would rather you pursue and train before you engage in using your head. Problem. He's given you a straight arm that you just can't defeat. Well, you steel yourself. I'll talk about that in great detail in a second. You steel yourself and just a slight bang 2 inches into this giving part of the arm, which creates a bend in the hand and the arm that allows you to defeat what you couldn't defeat before. You see? And you may find that situation on the ground also. But it's a soft, givable. This is not a bowling ball. As a brain doctor once described the head to me as a bowling ball. And that's something that you may do at a moment of desperation. Stealing your consciousness. I don't mean taking and stealing it. I mean like forging your consciousness. We kind of have proven, medical science has proven. I don't believe what martial artists say. I don't believe what 25 and 30-year-old reality-based fighters tell me. I want to hear what a scientist and a doctor says. Those are the people you should listen to. And when I quote these things, those are my sources. Not some 28-year-old kid in spandex with a shaved head, or some guy from the Yangtze River who didn't graduate high school but is telling you about pressure points and magnetic energy in your body or something. Go to the guy who graduated Yale and listen to them. But at any rate, we know from these people that a sucker punch on a person who has no idea that they're about to be hit, a sucker punch can lead to a devastating knockout, very simply. And the more that this person knows that a punch is about to be delivered, the better chance he has to steel himself, to protect himself from passing out. Now, this is a medical fact. And so that is why, folks, the ambush sucker punch is so successful. And so there are tricks to, like rolling with the punches and so forth, to steel yourself against an unconscious level of attack. But the more you can prepare to fight through a difficult blow, the better chance you'll have of surviving a difficult blow. Just look at the continuum from total preparation to total sucker punch. Easily knocked out, a little bit harder. And so when you are about to do some type of a headbutt as a last resort situation, steel your consciousness in the ways that I've just told you, and prepare to fight back and say, this is, I may black out for a second, or this may be tough, or get ready for a bad one, because this is medically, scientifically proven to help you withstand it better than to not prepare yourself. Kick. It's not any less important than any other kick. It's just we have to put them somewhere, and it's it's pretty a popular and an important one. It is dynamically not unlike the front snap kick in that they ask you to line your torso up straight, to raise up and push. And so you have really two developing ones. You have a front thrust kick from the lead leg, which is less height usually and less power, but a pain in the neck for many people if they get hit by it, and a door breaker, a power kick. And of course, when you're doing these door breakers, if you can accentuate the heel, there are many physical people who tell you that synergistically, when you put the heel into it, you develop more power. But lots of people are happy by using the ball of the foot too. And you can generate a lot of power both ways. And so what we ask people to do as part of the certification process and their regular workouts is we don't have a thrust kick from the street stance, but rather we have them from the ready positions. So we will have someone do 10 thrust kicks from this leg, 10 thrust kicks from this leg. Then we ask them to switch, 10 thrust kicks from this lead leg, and 10 from this leg, a total of 40.
Hold the mark going.
All our kicks, we make sure we try to do ground versions of them. And I told you on earlier levels that the different categories of kicks, when you do them on the ground, they start looking the same. And so the stomp kick, ground, looks like this, and the front thrust kick at ground looks like this. And so this is what happens when you start condensing them to the ground. And so what we ask you to do with each leg, and we will also encourage you in your classes to have a variance of degrees. This is perfectly straight out, or we'll say 12 o'clock. You might angle your body over so you could vary out to maybe 10 o'clock or 10:30 or something like this, so that you get more versatility in the angles. You experiment with shooting out to, say, 1 o'clock. But basically, I'd like for you start possibly even back down this far. Raise up and kick and come down. I don't care if you keep a vertical foot or, a horizontal foot or somewhere in between. Again, the synergists, the body experts will tell you, put more heel into it, better alignment to generate more power. So we need to see 10 from the right leg and 10 from the left leg. Make sure your people get up when they do this into what I would call the military crab walk. The crab walk was in our PT tests in the Army many years ago. It allows you to generate more power and pursue a person should they be trying to escape you.
Illustrates an application of the front thrust kick when both of your arms are encumbered, regardless of how they may be. It also illustrates a less lethal application. If we're advancing on a subject who we realize to be unarmed, we can still get a good control technique in by using the front thrust kick. Now that's with the front leg. Remember we talked about a rear limb, be it arm or leg, is always more powerful because it travels further and generates more momentum. So if I advance it,
Goes to the groin straight up. That applies to a lot of people sometimes. Or maybe it's not just straight up. Maybe it's sort of this way. But it's still a thrust. And it's still appropriate to do, depending on where that person might be. He may be bending down to get you, And so let's take a look at this. Hold that up and I'll fix myself in a good position here. Right around here. If I raise up, I can't raise up and get it. But see, here I am and I'm kicking up. Kicking up. Oh, just kind of move it a little bit lower right there. And I have these, so I'm doing thrust kicks, but it's straight up. If a person were, see my legs are a little too long to get this demonstration going, but you see, that's a thrust kick, a stomp kick, a ground version. Boom. Some people do it down here. They get their, if our legs were exactly the same size, I could probably do it. Raise this up and kick up. Be a pretty good shot. So we need to practice that raise. And some raise it straight up. Boom. Boom. Can we get 10 and 10 doing that? So we usually ask people to do with each kick, part of the kicking module, is to try to engage in a little bit of kick sparring back and forth. Remember, we don't want you to become a kickboxer. We want you to defeat the kickboxer. As Joe Louis says, nothing replaces ring time. And you need to get in there and just duke it out sometimes. But we will ask you to deliver each other in different sets or however you want to work it out. Front thrust kicks, avoid them with your legs, kick the kicks with your legs, or if they apparently come high enough to deal with your hands. I mean, we don't want to engage our hands in low line blocking and expose our heads, but sometimes they're just there and you just bat them away because it's not a big strategic problem, especially if you have one hand up to kind of cover. If this is over here and you do this, not good. If this is here, you're probably okay. But just so that you feel that, it's good to build and aggregate everything, all the strikes, all the kicks as you go, and just get in there and beat each other up in kickboxing. It's an important experience. We'll have our guys work on the front thrust kicks. guess now would be a good time to talk about the front thrust kick in terms of this environment. Here's a classic one all our guys should know. Is if this is a counter to a spinning back kick or any type of turn kick like this. If I'm here and I'll get the first one in, and now he'll see the dynamics of how I do this. He's looking for example, the deep step over, you know, and this will all happen in real quickly. Obviously, but see, I turn quickly and I look, and then I kick in, right? And then I got him once. And so, kick me once, shame on me. Kick me twice, shame on you. The next time, when he sees me step off and I turn, that thrust kick goes into the small of my back. Usually it's the lead leg because it's got to be that fast. The rear leg takes longer time to develop. But folks, that's a classic one. I would be remiss not to show you that one since we're spending a few minutes doing this kickboxing environment. Let's take a few rounds of it. First one's going to get through. Of takedowns are a bunch of push-pulls, and there's quite a few of these, and I just try to put them all together for you here. And we'll start with something that we reviewed and touched upon in other earlier ones, but it's officially here. And we'll take a look at the push-pulls that occur on the legs. And no better way to start than where I learned it, Indonesian silat drill, where you pick up all these different ground versions. If our man is like a training statue, like the statue drill. Some Indo people get very scientific about this. They will say, I'll tell you this is position 1, position 2, and I'm a little bit more free about it. Many of them start with the double hook knee. And you know, you don't want to just do the both of them like this. You want to have a one forward, one back. It creates more of an imbalance. And in a combat scenario, as we've done earlier, you create the double, you roll down and push, or you create the double, you roll down and push. But they like to start the program, the circle, by doing the double, which is fine. And so here, we'll just start right here. Here is the grounded one, hooks and controls the foot, and we have a push-pull. Then I roll over, the grounded one hooks and controls the foot, and I push-pull against the knee. Roll over again, hook, push-pull, push-pull, push-pull. This is just the optimum push-pull. Anything from behind, just optimum version. And this basically teaches a person, after several different rotations, the quick acquisition of where your feet go and how to take somebody down. And then in the final position, we're just pushing, pulling from here. This is just a great way for someone, after just a few rotations, to pick up the basic understanding of where the feet go and how to push-pull a standing person down. Good. The next one that's like this is a scissor drill. Not quite as versatile as the push-pull. And it takes more skill. In some positions, it's as easy as pie. And in others, you see that your feet have to work in sort of a semicircular type of way. You see the push-pull here is just very, very simple. But if I am going to scissor from here to maximize the scissoring version, and we'll make rawhide go down completely on this one. You know, I'm scissoring here more or less to sort of capture the bottom part, but I'm scissoring and pulling in. So you see, that's a scissoring motion. Many Indonesian people, but mostly the Filipino people, would call that a gunting, a scissoring motion. And so you see I have a scissor here. I would roll over and have a scissoring here. But do you see what I mean about understanding the angles of the legs to get the maximum scissor for a takedown? If I come over here, I would scissor this way. If I roll here, I've got a project. If he's helping me too much. If he's this way, I've got to, well, let me just do it over. I'm sort of having to do that to make him buckle and fall down. And so there's a scissor there. If I come over to here, here is where God made scissors. That's the scissor. That's the side spots are the perfect ways. We'll get back there again. If I come over to here, I am now back kicking against the kneecap. That might be a very stable position. So, I kick, and I'm going to have to sort of heel kick that in to maximize the potential to make that work. And so here I was. Here, I turn around here, very simple scissor. I come around here, modified scissor motion. I was here, I come around to here, kind of a modified scissor motion. He gets back up again. I come around to here. Pretty simple, but modified scissor version. So you see, there's a little bit more skill involved in trying to scissor someone down in all these major positions. This next push-pull is another classic that I've collected through the years. And I've seen it done in martial arts, but I've seen it done in the military, and it could work with anyone who's wearing a belt. If you recognize the person has a belt, and that's why it works with the martial arts also. And it's a push-pull where, you push up against the guy's neck or throat. It's a deep grab. It's really a forearm strike to the groin. But let's just turn this way a little bit here. I'm stepping beside him, and you have to grab the person's belt, no matter what it is, and you're pushing violently this way, and pulling violently this way. And so it seems like you're lifting the person up. Okay. Here's another push-pull. It's good to use. We use this in our gun course in terms of hostages. It was taught to me originally as samurais who were playing dead and being carted over to be decapitated so their heads could be showed to the winning shogun. And then in the course of either being pulled by the arms or pulled by the legs, they would spring up, do a push-pull, spring up, and escape. And so how it plays out today is, I think if you're a police officer or a citizen and you're knocked out in a robbery and they're going to carry you into the cooler of a convenience store and execute you or something, this is just something that might work. And so here we are here. This guy is got me, and he's beginning to pull me away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to constrict all the muscles in my legs and of course my back in one fell swoop as he's pulling to get hook his ankles. It doesn't matter if my feet are in his pelvis. It doesn't matter if he's got my ankles and I'm like this, because my legs are abridged across the top of his thighs. This is a hard fall, so let's take it easy for this point right now. He has no padding down there. But I am going to hook, push, and then pull, and then he goes. And then from here, I want you to proceed to kick, not engage in some sort of wrestling match. If it looks like he's going to try to grab your legs, get him out of there. The Indo people immediately try to take that get up leg out, and then get up, stepping on the ankle or so forth. If I'm here, that kick comes to get me, you pass it over, boom, and then try to fight from there. This other version is when you're being dragged this way, and you're, of course, playing unconscious as limp, a good acting, and I contract all the muscles in my arm and my back and arms, and I try to get up here as fast as I can. What the suggested motion is then to do is, as violently as possible, kick up into the stomach, and deep, kick and pull simultaneously, kick and pull, and then you toss the person over and then get up. Okay. here is a ankle hook that's similar to this, but against a pop-up fighter who's doing the smart thing. He's getting out of a ground fight, but he's posting on my chest instead of my face, or even if he did post on my face and I was able to recover. But he's down here and he has duked it out, and suddenly, you know, he decides he's going to pop up. He pops up, you know, and look at me. I've got an ankle grab here or an ankle grab here. Now, unfortunately for me as a deficit, my legs are pretty long. So in order for me to get in here, I can. You see what I've done? I've just rose my knee up and got in, and I'm pushing him down. And so I don't want to engage in any ground fighting. Oh, a heel hook might be interesting here, but I have to control this leg. This leg will come around. I would rather just start kicking him in the groin and getting up myself rather than further wrestling into the situation. But you can see where the push-pull can work against the quick, smart pop-up fighter on the ground. More of the push-pull, a lot of it against the legs. This is, of course, remember our motto and our tenet to always try to fight after the punch, after the stab, after the gunshot, after the stick strike. He gives me an uppercut. Oh, and it's bad. It's so bad, I've fallen. I know doomsday is coming. I know pounding on the head. I know knees are coming. Instead of just laying here and receiving it, I scoop against the ankle, collapse against the knee, and of course I really have to worry about this potential of him coming in and throwing some kicks at me. If he's a trained fighter, he will. If he's an instinctive fighter, if he's a trained wrestler, he won't. But you see, Indo people, just as an example, they would just kind of freeze so I can show this to you here. Scoot up, knee to the groin. You see, knee to the stomach. Knee, charge knee to the head, as opposed to a lot of wrestling. We'll just do that from this side here. Foot positioning is done in different systems in different ways, and really the complete scientific way is there's 4 with your right foot here, and 4 with your right foot here, and 4 with your left foot here, and 4 with your left foot here. You know, basically speaking, you can put your right foot against his foot in the front, in the side, behind it, or on the side, and in the front, on the side, and behind it, and on the side. And you do the same thing with this. So to be scientifically competent, this can go in 4 fundamental positions here, and 4 fundamental positions here, and this one 4 here, and 4 there. Now, I've seen some strange things happen with foot trapping. I've seen people have to have knee surgery because, let's just say, in an example here, I step on his foot to trap his foot. He yanks his foot out. I hyperextend my knee. I go to the emergency room. I have knee surgery. It's not exactly the game plan, is it? But this really, foot trapping, I believe, is overrated. Foot stomping is not that overrated. And a lot of people should, bang, come in and do something instead. But merely stepping on someone's foot doesn't work in football or rugby, and it probably doesn't work in real life to the extent that a martial artist will tell you it does. But sweeps and so forth can be a legitimate takedown. As a cop, I've done them. You just pretty much have to know what it is that you're doing. And so in these positions, the classic ones are, I go ankle to ankle. To make him fall, I've got to put enough of his balance so that his body needs that foot to stay standing, but not too much that all his weight is on that foot that I can't move it. So you see, it's a tricky thing, isn't it? And that's why you usually grab this guy and push him in such a way that you can go. And you see, you sort of take him in a manner. You've got to cup your foot and take him in a manner and stick like glue until the takedown works. Classic combat scenario, he throws a punch. You know, you got the stunning movement. You come in, you go ankle to ankle, and then you pull, and then seek out targets on the ground. There are many, many drills for this that come from, I have seen them in Japanese systems and Indonesian systems, where he's standing here in a forward stance. I connect. He holds kind of onto me, onto him. He takes a step backward. I then come up and I connect to here. He takes a step backward. I get into the sweep or takedown position from here. He steps back. I do the same thing. And you floor walk basically this way, learning instinctively how to pick up the foot sweep. While we're on the subject of the trapped foot and the pull, I got to show you this because I learned this almost 20 years ago. And I think against a stunned person it's pretty interesting. I want to show it to you. Now's the time to show it to you. Let's just say this guy throws his punch and I get him a good smack. Well, just look at that a little bit slower. This comes in, that hand is right, boom, boom, I hit. I come up with a good shot to buckle him. He's pretty confused. Since we're on the subject of Indo, as I'm going to come down here, imagine I'm going to hit his thigh, but in actuality, on this side, look at all these motions here. Groin, see? Foot goes to foot, drop, grab, and pull, takedown. Cover, and then one giant bad leaping ground side kick somewhere. Wherever that you see is open. You know, and I'm not going to be able to do it to him completely, but the full commitment, you know, of a shot to the head or something like that. Be a great combat scenario, very Indonesian. I want to show it to you because it's level 8, and I want you to start pushing the envelope somewhat. More push-pull takedowns of this collection I've got. This is one I learned in the U.S. Army. For some reason they call it the Belgium takedown. And it's taught as a sentry takedown. I don't know why, because it certainly won't make him quiet along the way. But nonetheless, this is for that. He's holding a rifle, or maybe not, doesn't matter. You come up behind the guy and you scoop both his ankles. You drive your shoulder, you know, into an area behind his knees and pull. Now, in training, you've really got to be careful of your friend's kneecaps when they hit the ground, because it's a pretty violent drop. And then you kill them or do whatever it is that you need to do next. But just worry about your friend's knees, because it's a hard thunk onto the ground.
Oh, that feels...
Another push-pull takedown combat scenario, very, very vital, is when a guy hits you several times successfully, you fall down on the ground and you find yourself down here right over this guy. And many times, if you look at the street fight rehashes, debriefs, if you look at the videos that are taken of real encounters like this guy does not step over you sometimes, but rather he stays over here on the side. And so conventional wisdom has a lot of people curling up spastically and trying to get away over here, which is just open season for him to drop on you and continue battering you. Rather, we'll turn a little bit sideways this way here. Rather, as soon as you hit the ground, this guy may start punching, hook a leg or two and jump against the leg. And get him off of his feet and stop the battering as quickly as possible. Now, from here, you know, you could lay a shot into the groin or whatever, and get up. It's one of those times when your back may be turned against him for just a few seconds. A lot of people escape quickly from his kicking range by jumping away, but I tell you what I've seen a lot, rolling away. It's such a fast and easy escape to get away from his feet that it's pretty interesting, even though you're temporarily exposing your back to the opponent. If he knocks you, so there's your push-pull. Hook a leg, too, if possible, and dive into him. Rather than some elaborate deal where you thrust your legs up in the air and the guy grabs them and you try to get an arm bar, and my God, what a complicated mess. If he knocks me down and this time steps over me, here is the follow-up push-pull. It's very important. I'm going to push against this leg and pull against this leg with just a body pitch that could easily fit in our last level study. A body pitch against here. It's very simple, and I'm able to get up quicker than some of the more elaborate motions. If a person is over you, your legs aren't too long, and your feet aren't too big like mine. You can get in here and hook this ankle or this ankle, and you do a pull down here and a push down here to get them off of you. Remember what has happened since 1990 in training is when two opponents land in this position, they begin this silly leg lock challenge. And they start twisting. This is bullshit. Get up. Don't let this stupid muscle memory keep you here. If you dump this guy on his ass, get up and get out of there. Or kick him in the process. And don't engage in this pretzel fighting on the corner of 33rd Street in the rain. It's just silly. Here's another push-pull combat scenario, kind of one of my favorites. And actually, I think I saw it years and years ago as kind of a mano-mano silat thing, which is pretty interesting. He punches me, but he also steps forward in the common punch of stepping forward. If he doesn't step forward, the ability for you to do this won't happen. And skilled fighters who are fighting are looking center mass, not looking at the face. The face is a mask that hides emotion, conveys scary emotion, and we can't look at that person. Many times people are a lot more uglier than they are good fighters. And you can't let that interfere with your ability to concentrate and fight back. And so in many cases, most people are way uglier, especially when they make ugly, mad faces. And you can get, from a psychological standpoint, much to talk about there, hypnotized by that face even momentarily. But when I'm looking here, I'm seeing peripherally the shoulders and also pretty much the hips. And I can pretty much tell what leg is forward and what's not without me looking down like this. But anyway, he steps and throws, and he lands a pretty good shot. At level 5 of our course, we have rolling with the punches. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to learn, to take some of the impact out of that. He's got me. Look at this footwork. Step. I'm falling down anyway. As I fall down, I hook, and he goes down. From here, you know, there's a hyperextension here, but we won't, that's not too powerful. You have all the kicks that you could do to get the person busy, and then you can escape. And so, at a little bit quicker speed, boom! Be careful in training because this lower leg separates from the upper leg on your training partner, and if you do it for real too fast, if you pressure test it too fast, you'll hurt your friend. Here's a push-pull, but it involves hair. You know, since about 1990, hair techniques have de-evolved and disappeared from just about almost all fighting systems. It's got something to do with the uprise of Brazilian, South American Jiu-Jitsu, I think, and the compulsion since then for everyone, smartly, to lose their beards and their hair. Shave their head or have extremely short hair, which is a look now also. And so all these things put together by 1995 or 96, all the hair-pulling techniques that were very commonplace in the 1980s, say for example, and past that, before that, are now de-evolved, forgotten, and gone from fighting systems. And the real crime is it's gone from ground fighting. And it's a really good handle. You can just pull, but if you push-pull, which creates a similarity to a head twist takedown that we do in earlier levels, but very, very important. Remember that your common person that you have to fight out in the street has hair. And hair fads come and go. And I believe we're on the cusp of another long hair guy era. And so when you assess your enemy in fighting them, you look and see how strong they might be, how fit they might be, but also I look for head hair. And I'm probably going to use that hair in the fight at some point. I can't tell you what your favorite techniques are going to be. That's for your shape, your strength, your body size. My job is to show a lot of good stuff as any instructor's job is. And so you're supposed to adapt the ones that you think work best for you and that you like. And I'm going to show it to you because it involves the push-pull of the hair as part of it. And please, you know, study the rest of your life, experiment, and find out what really super works for you best, because everybody's different in strength, size, shape, etc.